possibly the worst kept secret, but also the most hyped secret, has finally been announced to kickstart the new year. So, yeah, to kickstart the new year, the Elite announced that there was going to be a very special Be the Elite Being the Elite show, which, if those who don't know, I would understand, is an internet series by the members of the Elite. Kenny Omega, Marty Scurll, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, with occasional guests such as Flip Gordon, SoCal Uncensored, various talent that they have throughout the wrestling industry. They even got Wade Barrett to show up. Yeah. And you could also make the argument they kind of got the New Day involved because they did a competition between the Golden Lovers Elite, the Golden Elite, and the New Day in video game competition. Granted, it would have been more majestic if it was a match, but still. And they have acknowledged the New Day and did the whole New Day sucks thing. But yeah, it's finally been announced. All Elite Wrestling as the countdown to the new year for Japan's New Year time, which was at 3 in the morning for where I'm at. Yeah. I was asleep at the time, so I didn't stay up to watch it, but I knew it was going to be that or the next All In event. And sure enough, that also was announced. Double or Nothing. And yeah, I knew that was going to be the next show, next episode. And then I checked it out. And like Cody of the Young Bucks and Hangman Page are counting down. Marty Scurll isn't there. He's still contracted with Ring of Honor. Kenny Omega is preparing for a big meeting that will decide the fate of his career. Go to WWE or go to All Elite Wrestling. That, and he has to prepare for his New Japan Pro Wrestling event. So they really didn't want to decide Kenny's future there, so it's just going to be those four right now. But I do expect the rest of the Elite to follow suit. Kenny Omega's still up in the air for people. But yeah, so when this was announced, they did this whole fake out moment where it looked like there was no countdown reveal, but then they just came back and just did their funness and came out and just said, "It's happening, everybody. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening." Like, they try to fool people by saying that it was really just going to be the next All In event, but then then Hangman reveals that it's actually All Elite Wrestling, and everyone was rejoicing. It was trending a lot. There was articles. In fact, I am convinced there were more people talking about the event announcement than people who actually watched the show where it came from. Which would be kind of amazing. But yeah, so here are the details I got from the site, from according to Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, that not only was Double or Nothing the sequel to All In, but it was announced that there would be a Double or Nothing rally near at the TA8 Bank Field Arena, at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, January 8th, which just happens to be near SmackDown. If they don't do a sequel to that one thing they did where they scream out to Raw's arena host, they say, "Luke Gallows, Finn Balor, Cole Anderson, your friends are here to rescue you," then they would have lost an opportunity there. They said this was a free event to go to, so expect a crash. Yeah, but also, yeah, the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes, Hangman Page, the SoCal Uncensored, they're going to be at this little event, and they're featured on this ad, and there will be more special guests, and this was the details that we did get so far in this. Expect more announcements to be made in the following days, but I don't think I'll cover them. But I will talk about Double or Nothing. I guarantee that I will talk about that event. Even if I don't go to the show, I hope they do it like they did with All In, air it, and do it again. So this was the current reports going around with Dave Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Take it for what you will. There are guys signed to the promotion, including Cody and the Young Bucks, aren't officially signed yet, but could be within the next 24 to 48 hours. There's no television deal for AEW yet, but there are multiple offers out there, Meltzer said. He's confident enough to say that he thinks it will happen. People are being signed to multi-year contracts. The Khan Dynasty... Khan! That had to happen, for me at least. Tony Khan, who is owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and Fulham FC, is the head of the company. He's a longtime professional wrestling fan and the son of the billionaire Shahid Khan. So yeah, the Khan dynasty is basically is a fan of wrestling and are pouring their billions of dollars into this project. However, New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW are kind of up in the air with what's going on, what's going to happen to them. Are they going to do a talent exchange? Are they going to have a relationship? If they don't, then Kenny might have to choose New Japan, WWE, or AEW. Like, that's basically a huge conflict for him because, one, he wants to be with his buddies. He wants to be with his friends, his basically second family. But he doesn't want to separate from, Kota Ibushi and everything that in New Japan Pro Wrestling's done for him. But he wants to go to WWE because he wants to be restricted and he believes he can work well with that. Take of that what you will on that mentality. But yeah, so I hope that New Japan and AEW can work something out so we can at least get protected with Kenny Omega. But AEW did say they would like to, it was reported that AEW would like to have a working relationship with them and would like to continue with them with their roster, but it's currently unknown what's going to happen on that front. So we'll probably find out in the coming days or even months even. And the success of All In wasn't lost on certain people in the TV industry. Those who watched it were very impressed. And also, Meltzer noted that believes, please note this is believed, not a dick guarantee, doesn't think ROH talent will be working for AEW. They'll be competing for the same wrestlers. Meltzer called this the greatest thing for talent since the WWF, WCW Monday Night War era. With WWE, AEW, and now ROH now all competing for talent, they all wanted Bandito, the masked guy that everyone assumed was Neville, because that made sense in some people's minds, because he had the ears, which did confuse me. I was like, they wouldn't waste Neville's return on that kind of appearance. They would make it a big reveal. So, and ROH got him. In fact, that was one of the big positives people said came out of All In, that this talented performer was getting so much offers and recognition because not only was he at the show and showcased his talents, he was the main event. Yes, he was pinned, but he showcased a lot of abilities to hang with the legends like the Young Bucks, Kota Ibushi, Rey Mysterio, and I'm trying to remember the third guy's name. It's been a while. Yeah. But yeah, the fact that he hung out with all these top guys should say that this was a big deal. And now Bandito finally gets a big break for him. He's getting to Ring of Honor now, and they all wanted him. And there was even a big announcement that was revealed. Apparently, the people who own Impact Wrestling actually tried to sell Impact, everything that was there, to All Elite Wrestling. Not WWE, All Elite Wrestling. One, Impact can't catch a break. Clearly shows that things are bad. Somehow, I don't know. Two, it does mean that Impact like the people who own Impact don't want to sell it to WWE for some reason. Like at best, they probably would just give away their tape library. But it seems like WWE was like their second offer. Like they tried to make this offer months ago and it didn't go through. Like they weren't interested in it. And I was kind of like, you got Pentagon Jr., you got Sami Callihan, you got Johnny Nitro, John Morrison, or even as he's known as Johnny Impact, or John Manon, whatever his last name he was when he was in Lucha Underground, which did kind of made me a little sad that AEW didn't go with buying that company out in their contracts, because that would have been a big bolster with talent. Though I don't know about how Sami Callihan would adjust to a more less destructive version of Impact of AEW in terms of that kind of brutality that Sami Callihan likes to showcase. But whatever. We don't even know what the ratings going to be like in AEW. But the fact that this is happening was a lot of people were crying with tears of joy, they said. I was ecstatic, like, finally a fresh alternative to WWE that was not NXT. Don't get me wrong about NXT. It's the greatest thing that ever happened since humankind. But I also did think, there has to be more than just NXT. Like, yeah, there's New Japan, there's Ring of Honor, but we've seen those, and while they're all exciting, we want to see more. And we got All Elite Wrestling, which will unite the territory independent scenes. So the legend foretold. And to say, okay, and to those that were saying that this is going to be real competition, okay, maybe to Vince's perspective, this is competition, since there was reports that months ago that he was freaking out about this alleged story that may or may not have been true, and was trying to lock all the talent under contract and try to keep a bunch of people there he knew would probably leave, like the Revival. And it was reported that some people in WWE were considering maybe going to All Elite Wrestling, because All Elite Wrestling is what Chris Jericho said about WWE and WCW. Whereas WWE was the place where you want to make a name for yourself, you go there. If you go to WCW, that's a place where you've already made it and you just want to make some quick cash, so to speak. But, that's what probably is going to end up with AEW. It's going to be that place where you want to make a name for yourself and have fun without the overbearingness of the corporation, the machine, and all the oppressive systems they put in, and all the restrictions, and especially you got the stocks, the people marketing stuff, and all that complicated issues that make it much harder for products to be made. But yeah, that was also could be a contributing factor. And the Revival, they even kind of shot from the hip on Twitter, where they said, and the Young Bucks joined in on this, where they said, soon our tag team's gonna fight the Young Bucks, or our tag team's gonna fight the Revival, and remember this treat because this will be a glorious day for everybody. It was like they're admitting that they're frustrated, they're pissed off. Like, they were competing in Lucha House Rule matches, which did not make any sense. Don't try and dispute that. But, you have this tag team filled with so much in-depth talent in them, and they're not getting this big respect because why? Because Vince doesn't like it when they told the truth? Because they said they're professional wrestlers, not sports entertainers? Well, Vince, I'm sorry that I offended you. I mean, oh, wait, I'm not. But yeah, there's a lot of talk about who's going to be there, who's going to jump ship. There is probably some ideas I have, and this is just based off conjectured reports. It's give or take on them. There's been recent reports coming out that a lot of the talent, that some of the big talent they have been expressing frustration and anger with WWE. Like Sami Zayn, who's injured, revealed that I don't think about wrestling when I go back to WWE. Not like he's gonna quit or retire. It's more like I've been injured and probably I've had fun not wrestling in WWE. And I was like, oh boy, the amount of people he just pissed off right there. And then you had Buddy Murphy, who was frustrated with WWE's management. And people would probably wonder, well, why is Buddy Murphy mad? Isn't he Cruiserweight champion? And I think that's exactly the point. Mustafa Ali has not won the title yet. He got promotion to SmackDown. And Buddy Murphy probably thinks he wants to be on the level of the Brock Lesnar's, on the level of the Seth Rollins, the Roman Reigns. But he probably will never be given that kind of opportunity yet, because he's Cruiserweight champion and they're going to lock them in a certain position. Though Mustafa Ali broke the barrier, part of the all-new initiative they're doing, which I'm still calling bullcrap, for the most part. It's going to be a gimmick. They're going to run with it for a couple of months, and then after WrestleMania and the Raw after WrestleMania, they're going to be done with it and go back to the way things were. Like, it's not going to be surprising if they do that. Even Seth Rollins has been expressing frustration. Yeah, Seth freaking Rollins. He even had said that he thinks that his best days in WWE are no longer ahead, they're behind him. In fact, it was reported that even the bookers and the management was like, Triple H should never put Rollins at WrestleMania. Should never have put Rollins over at WrestleMania. And it was like, you're kidding me, right? You honestly think that because you fucked up Rollins' push and his Monday Night Rollins gimmick he was running with, that you think he should not have now won at WrestleMania against Triple H, even though it made all the sense in the world? You're really suffering from Booker's remorse? Really? Like, imagine telling your employer that. Imagine telling your employer that, hey, I kind of feel bad that we made you a star and we kind of made you a big deal heading into WrestleMania, and I kind of feel bad that we kind of made you a winner there. You really should have just been a loser. Yeah. Because you're not really a star we thought you would be. I would be like, okay, then fuck you. Release me. If you really think I'm not going to contribute in the level you've been pushing me with all your crap writing and favoring Roman's agenda, the agenda for Roman Reigns you had going to stall my momentum and make me a lackey for the most part, then release me. Fire me. Fire me. Like, clearly, I've done all the hard work. I've delivered top quality matches. I almost could have been beaten Kenny Omega for Wrestler of the Year. But clearly, I made a mistake. It's not your fault. It's clearly my fault because I had to work with your crappy booking. And that anything that was good and organic was stripped away from me because I was doing so well and you wanted to focus on certain other people that you liked. Okay, fine. Release me then. Like, okay, here's the thing. I get it. The money is a very important factor. It's a very important factor. These people want to have lives. They want to go home in a warm bed with warm meals, with a house over their heads, with a roof over their heads, and also feed their families. I get that. I really do. But not everyone in wrestling kind of has that mentality. There are those who say, I want to actually be somebody. I want to be the top guy. I want to make money for this company. I want to be the one that puts asses in seats. I want to be the guy that sells out arenas. I want to be the guy that makes the sales. And Vince has kind of shown if you don't do certain things, like you don't give him the chance, then he's not going to get... Like, look at Rusev Day. He was on fire. They didn't want to go with it. They gave him the U.S. title at the end of the year, but really the damage was done. Aiden English wasn't doing anything after he was split from Rusev, and Rusev Day was the only thing keeping him going. But, like... Nakamura, like, some people have been saying that they hope Nakamura leaves WWE. I honestly hope so he does, because clearly they're not going to utilize him like they clearly indicated they wanted to, but Triple H was going to be denied that. But, like, I don't see him going back to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He has said that he wants to stay in the U.S., and he wants to move his family to Florida, which just so happens to be where All Elite Wrestling is going to be built at. Make of that what you will on Nakamura. And it's also been reported that Gran Metalik has been frustrated. A lot of the Mexican wrestlers have been frustrated. Really, there's a lot of wrestlers expressing their frustration and kind of starting to lose their passion for this industry that we all grow and love. And all of them are WWE people who are on the main roster, and they're like, suck the passion away from them. Suck the passion away from them. Like, this is like what happened with CM Punk. Like, he was passionate. He cared. But the WWE was like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And look where CM Punk's at now. Like, his passion's been drained. He can't physically watch a wrestling event without changing the channel within seconds. That's how bad WWE drained him of his passion for wrestling. I'm like, granted, calling his career a complete failure was pushing it a little. Okay, greatly, but still. But, like, when the talent starts to express like they're losing more interest in this business, it's like, then why are you here mentality? I don't know how to answer that question, but like, the very idea that there's even a room for concern about the fact that Vince is draining wrestlers of their passion to wrestle might tempt more people to leave WWE and go to All Elite Wrestling. So, make of that what you will on what's going to happen when when more contracts start to come up. Heck, I even wanted to hopefully wish AJ Styles goes to All Elite Wrestling. Now, I know what people will say, well, why would he go there? He's expressed that he wants to end his career in WWE. Okay, I get that, and this is just wishful thinking on my part. He's made millions, he's set for life. What if he wanted to end his career not going out on top, but being like Terry Funk in terms of what he did during ECW? He was in his 50s at the time, and he probably should have retired after ECW, or like stopped later on, a little bit later, but like he's still going, and he's in his 70s, and he's asking people to set him on fire. But what if he wanted to do what Terry Funk did for ECW? Be the guy that puts ECW on the map, that put AEW on the map, makes them a place to go to, a place to have talent cultivated. It would be a perfect send-off for Styles if he decided to do that. That's mostly going to be in his thought process, to leave WWE, go to All Elite Wrestling, and start putting people over and ending his career, putting people over, and in fact, we never did get Kenny Omega versus AJ Styles. We never got that match. I always wanted to see that match, but they never did it. Yeah, AJ Styles left after Kenny Omega betrayed him and took over the leadership of Bullet Club, and look how that turned out in the end. But yeah, but like, to see the idea of Styles leaving WWE, well, is very far-fetched. In fact, he's even asked for a lighter schedule because he wants to wind down. I can get that, and I could probably understand why he probably wouldn't want to go to AEW, because he wants to end his career in WWE, and being in AEW would be a little too familiar for him probably, since he did this a lot in Ring of Honor and New Japan. But I think it would be kind of feel good moment if he came to All Elite Wrestling and ended his career putting people over and spent the final days of his time doing some good storylines he always wanted to do, and put over the guys he feel like could be the next big things in wrestling. Because that would be a feel good send off for me. But that's just my wishful thinking that Styles could do. It's ultimately up to him if he wants to do it. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting 2019 for wrestling. Like I said this, what does WWE can offer to fans in terms of trying to starve off the hype for All Elite Wrestling? Like, okay, they have NXT, but Vince doesn't respect them, so he's not going to give them the time of day. Speaking of NXT, I want people to think about this. Imagine for one moment, that All Elite Wrestling gets a TV deal, NXT gets a TV deal on the same night, at the same time length, on any channel at the same night, at the same time, and they would last the same amount of time. Imagine that. And like, it'd be like the Monday Night Wars where people were changing the remote, like, I gotta see what's going on in WCW. Oh no, I gotta see what's going on in WWE. Oh my god, this is happening in WCW. Oh my god, wait, but I need to see what's going on with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. Wait, the NWO are being attacked? Oh god! Like, that would be freaking awesome. Like, granted, that probably not happened because of digital streaming services and all that. But imagine if they did that. Imagine if they did that on one night, competed at each other, go head to head on Wednesday nights, and fans were clicking back and forth going back and forth to choose. Oh God, I can't choose. I can't choose. It would just be chaotic and fun. Because that's what fans want. They want to get a reason to switch the channels back and forth. But it'd be so awesome. And telling and saying, hey, NXT's on the air. Oh, All Elite Wrestling's on the air. That would be perfect. Especially if they don't alter NXT just because they got a TV deal. Because Vince and Dunn would want to help them. But yeah, if they did that, then I would just declare it the Wednesday Night War. Basically. That would be pretty freaking awesome. But yeah, All Elite Wrestling, I wish Cody, yeah, when I was saying, what could WWE offer? Like, yeah, they have the money, they have the deals, they have the nostalgic factor to them. What does All Elite Wrestling could provide? Creative freedom, input for the talent, and if they were really going to do it, they could offer workers' unions and even, if they wanted to, an off season for a month and a half, or a month and a quarter, or they could offer insurance, since they have a billionaire family dynasty running the company, helping with the finances, so that could be a contributing factor. What does WWE have besides the scathing contempt and the name recognition? They have Becky Lynch, and that would probably be fragile at best because they could screw it up at any time. This is not the 2000s anymore, or the or the Ruthless Aggression era anymore, where they did everything to make a next big star to replace the void they have created. But yeah, so that's going to be a very interesting 2019. I wish the best to the Elite, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and basically this is like a big lesson in gambling with what you want to do in your life. Like, Cody, and I'm confident they're going to do well. You want to know how I know? Because Cody and the Young Bucks turned down not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, but 7-figure contract deals with the WWE. That's $1 million guaranteed contract. They decided to say, we don't want it. And I was like, you turned it down $1 million and probably anything else they were willing to offer? Okay, that should say how serious this is to you guys. So yeah, I'm excited for All Elite Wrestling. I can't wait for Double or Nothing, which will be freaking awesome. I hope to watch it. I hope they get TV deals from this. But this is going to be a big deal for a lot of people, for wrestling fans in 2019 this year, for who are looking for an alternative that's not WWE or NXT. Like I said, don't get me wrong, NXT is supremely fascinating and great, but like, that's still part of WWE. They want to see other guys who probably will never go to WWE. And like I said, we don't know what Chris Jericho or Jim Ross are up to. They're probably involved in this, but if Chris Jericho comes out and publicly supports AEW, I am just curious to know what Vince would do. To see the guy he feels like he created, even though Jericho made himself, and the guy he bullied and harassed because he had an opinion, Jim Ross, siding with AEW and say, we're going to take our talent to go there. I even said in the Elite Wrestling video episode where I said, imagine if they got it. Imagine if they got Jim Johnson to be the composer for their music. Done. They already beat WWE with the music. They got the talented guy here. CFL, they're good. They have a couple of hit songs, but not someone who consistently produces great music. His last music was I Bring the Darkness of Baron Corbin, which was just a lyrical version of the CFO's theme music they had that had no lyrics, which should say how talented the guy was, and I'm still trying to figure out why they let him go. Like, I get that they probably thought like it was time for a new generation to pop in, but he could be put in a teaching role, advisory role, give them advice, teach them, help them out to develop classic music. But now they just said, fuck it, let's get rid of him. Because reasons. So, yeah, it's going to be a fascinating 2019 for Double or Nothing and All Elite Wrestling. It's going to be a great year for wrestling fans everywhere. For New Japan, for Ring of Honor, for WWE, if they play their cards right. But I'm very curious and very excited to see where the Elite take this new promotion, All Elite Wrestling, to. I'm not saying it's going to compete with WWE. I feel like they would wait to do that. Instead, they're going to concentrate more internally to build themselves up, get that recognition, get that attention, and concentrate more on being who we want to be and not be like everyone else. Because that's the same mistake Impact made, and mostly Hogan and Eric Bischoff screwing it up, trying to replicate something that wasn't going to work anymore, especially with older veterans who were way older than they were in the 90s. But, yep. Congrats to the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, Hangman Page, and the rest of the Elite. I look forward to see what All Elite Wrestling can provide for this industry. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. Stay tuned for more, and peace out. And 2 sweet